We have Levon Aronian taking on Maxime Vachier-Lagrave at the 5th round of the Chennai Grandmasters 2024. Both of them world-class Grandmasters have had quite a amazing score between each other. They have played several games. Levon has won a few, MVL has won a few, and now they both take on each other on Indian soil. D4 by Levon, and it's going to be a fighting game of chess because both of them want to win the tournament and are trailing Arjun Erigaisi. So C4 by Levon, and now G6. Maxime known for his Grunfeld, and F3 played so that if D5 he wants to play the line of take and E4. Let's see if Maxime plays D5. No, he goes C5. He strikes in the center with his C pawn, and Levon pushes forward. D5, D6 has happened, and this is actually transposing into King's Indian territory. It happens through a different move order, but the Zamish system of the King's Indian has the same position that can arise. So E6 breaking in the center, and now E4 looks very logical. MVL puts his bishop on the long diagonal, and this is just the kind of opening that you want in a game that you want to win, because there are chances for both sides. Knight e2 is played with the intention of putting knight on g3, bishop e2 and castles. A6, and the point is you want to take and play b5, so Levon instantly stops it with a4. Now MVL can castle here, but he wants to, I guess, wait for castling, and so he plays queen to e7 and gets up, and Levon now takes on e6. This is a very interesting decision that Levon has taken to take. Generally white does not do that. Fe6 taken. It is also possible to take with the bishop, but fe6 makes more sense. And now this very interesting move, bishop f4, attacking the d6 pawn and forcing e5 so that the d5 square is weakened. So Levon might just go to g5, pin the knight which is protecting the square, and then jump in with his own knight. But in return, black also has the d4 square, so knight c6 is played, and he wants to plonk the knight on the d4 square. So it's a game filled with many square weaknesses, and we'll see who it benefits. Firstly, the knight jumps in to d5, and Maxime comes back, queen d8, and will Levon now develop the other knight, maybe to c3? Yes, knight to c3 has been played. Black can jump in with his own knight to d4, or play bishop e6 perhaps, but that would drop the d6 pawn. So first, knight to d4 makes all the sense. The position is slightly better for white. Bishop d3, Levon developing, and now Maxime just castles it out. I think Levon also will castle now. Yes, he does. And bishop e6 makes a lot of sense. Puts his bishop here. So the position is slightly worse for black, but nothing too bad. It's still tenable. Knight comes back to e2. And the idea here is to take. If c takes, then you get a queenside majority, and if e takes, then f4. So that's the reason why MVL takes on e2, but it's a very surprising move, because now you just have to be defending, I feel like, the entire game. Levon can simply take this with the bishop. I guess his idea is to take on d5, But then after cd5, white has the bishop pair and a great position. But apart from this, I do not understand why he took on e2. That was a very uncharacteristic move by Maxime. Rook f7 played here. And now a5 makes a lot of sense. Fixing the structure, but first goes queen d2. Levon slowly building up the position. Queen moves to f8 to unpin. And now maybe the idea is to take on d5. But Levon jumps in with the knight to b6, attacking the rook, but more likely just saying that, hey, the rook is attacked and now the d pawn is weak, you can't really take here. So rook d8 played, and Aronian brings the rook into the center of the board with rook d1. At 6, a question is asked to the bishop, and do you want to give up this bishop? I would believe that you want to keep it, and that's exactly what Levon does. He comes back, bishop e3, and while the bishop doesn't seem to be doing much right now, after b4 it would do a lot. So he does play b4, and the eventual idea is that after queen takes, you're able to break open the position with c5, and then all of the white pieces are much more active than black. That's the idea. So he takes here with the queen, and also you can always double up on the d file, putting pressure on d6. So rook c6 played, and now you can push the pawn to a5. Yes, he fixes the knight on the b6 square. The knight is defending c4 with his knight and bishop. h5 played. Maxime wants to trade off the bishops here. His bishop on g7 is very bad. But Levon now comes back to d5. He's attacking the b7 pawn with his queen. And MVL defends it with his rook. What's the next plan now? Do you want to go rook c1 to go for c5? No, he goes bishop d3. This move is a little bit difficult to understand, but I guess the idea is to get the bishop out from c2 to a4. So rook f7 played. And now he does play bishop c2. The question is, if you play bishop takes d5, e takes d5 attacks the rook and the pawn on g6, so it's impossible to play that. So king h7 played. And Levon brings his bishop back to f2. Once again, I'm a bit curious about this exchange, because now, it's slightly more controlled for black, but instead he goes rook c8. He's waiting to make that trade. And now Levon once again moves his knight to b6. Rook d8. He has to defend it a bit passively, because if he played rook c6 to defend d6, there was bishop a4. So once rook d8 is played, now comes c5. What a move. What timing this is by Levon. Just understanding all the little intricacies here and breaking at just the perfect moment. Takes, and now bishop takes on c5. Some exquisite chess. Bishop takes c5. And although the material is even, the quality of the pieces differ in a huge way. Queen goes to g8. Let's see what next Levon does to break through, because it's always interesting to see how these top players convert a winning position, because it's always a problem for amateurs to win a winning game. But now Levon first takes, queen takes, and I believe he'll bring his final piece into the game with rook d1. Yes, he brings his rook into the game, and now the queen can go to g8, can go to c7, can go to b8, many options, but none of them look very appetizing. Levon also has more time on the clock, 48 minutes, 25 for MVL. Queen goes to g8, presses the clock. What next now is the question. Goes bishop e7. Okay, this limits the limits black's pieces. Goes bishop at 6, planning maybe at some point to give a check and try to win this knight or exchange this knight, but knight d5 comes in. And he takes with the bishop, but that's a very risky decision, because after e takes d5, now there is d6 threatened. Queen c8, a good move because it attacks the bishop. I guess Levon will play queen bishop b3. Yeah, and now he's threatening d6. There's just no way to stop it. e4, trying to get some counterplay. Like if you play fe4, you get it. After bishop e3, king h1, knight g4, this is exactly what black wants completely. But of course Levon doesn't take it. He pushes d6, and his point is now the rook is hanging. And Levon is moving around. He knows he's winning here. Check. Okay, you have a choice between king h1 and king f1. King h1 looks more natural, but king f1 is also pretty good. He goes king f1. Levon knows no fear here. He knows that he has trapped this rook and he's already winning material. I think MVL is going to try for his final bit of counterplay here. Queen f5, very interesting move, because if you take here, e takes f3 and the position gets very complicated. It's not at all winning for white. So first queen c4 is played. This is such a nice move because he's threatening queen takes f7 with a mating attack. So let's say e takes f3, check, king here, and now bishop takes f6, just winning the game. So that's the reason why he plays rook g7. And now queen e6, offering a trade of queens. Very well timed. Very well timed. I think MVL, if he trades queens, it's almost like resignation. So he gives a check. But now the bishop comes to c4, blocking the check. Queen b2, threatening a mate in 1. And Levon comes back with his bishop. Now the knight is hanging, the pawn is queening. Black needs some reinforcements here. What to do? He plays his knight to g8. And now d7 is very much a possibility and a strong move. But let's see how Levon finishes this off. And he's taking his time. He knows that victory is very close, and that is when top players do not rush. They calculate all the possibilities and are then ready with their move. And here Levon is thinking, believe he has the move ready in his mind. Bishop f8, the rook is trapped. Rook f7, rook f3, d7, c7. There's nowhere else to go, and he resigns. MVL wins, loses this game. Levon Aronian wins. What a nice victory for Levon. He closes in the gap for Arjun through just half a point now. And he's very interested in knowing why MVL made certain decisions. But Levon, what a class act. He is now gaining 9 ELO points in this tournament, performing at an ELO of 2876, and is looking very, very strong. They went on to analyze for a long time after this game, which also shows great sportsmanship by MVL. And now we'll see what happens in the last 2 rounds of the tournament.